Hello, once again, this is another one of our talkie episodes. I am Peter.
Michaela.
And Scott.
Who is, of course, our player, and this is our chance to hear from him. So let's start at the beginning, when we were still in the hospital, and we ended up leaving Maria behind.
James.
Yeah, very smart thing to do.
Wait a minute.
Lie down and go to sleep in a hospital full of horrible monsters that are trying to kill you.
Yeah, because at first you're sort of like, and then you sort of put your hand on her shoulder and go, no, you should stay in this room.
Just a hangover.
And have some pills.
And then I'll stop running
should
into
rest.
you all the time.
Well, I suppose there is that, yeah. So there's an advantage to it. You might be hearing from our secondary guest, the cat, who's being quite noisy today. There was plenty of surprises on the roof this time of the hospital.
There's two, I guess. The diary, which didn't make too much sense. And then our mutual friend.
Well, what about the diary? What did we think about that? Did that seem relevant at all?
Yes, it did. I'm not sure how it is relevant yet, but I think it means something, if you get me.
And yes, Pyramid Head there, who decided to show up. I noticed when you showed up and you tried to sort of run out of that little alcove, and you actually almost made it. And then it kind of went, no. And it did that cutscene thing where it sort of forced you into position. What did you think when you first saw him? Was it just blind panic?
I thought there was going to be another fight, to be honest.
So you thought you were going to back into the room and start shooting?
That's what I thought, but no. You can't fight him again, he just throws you into the roof. But that's something that annoys me about games that force you to lose health when it's not your fault. Because you've just fallen off a roof in a cutscene.
I mean, there's no skill involved or any timing or anything like that.
No,
It's
you
just
fall
something
off a
which has to happen.
I didn't check the door either, but I'm guessing that was locked.
Oh, the one on the roof?
Yes.
Well,
I think it
Pyramid
is,
Head
yeah.
only really comes when you go towards it, so I think it's designed to be like that, yeah.
So you don't think you can even
No, I don't.
try it?
I quite like that he kind of stood there and went, like, I don't know if he looked smug
Hey
or
there.
kind of like, oh, damn, I wanted to stab him or something.
Well, I mean, the themes of the game are sort of punishment. Maybe he was just playing the punishment role by punting you into the next area of the game, which seemed to force the transition, of course, into the other version of the hospital, which isn't the other world.
It isn't the other world.
Well, it is the other world, but it's the other world of Silent Hill 2
It
rather
is
than Silent Hill 1.
another world, yeah, but it's different.
Yeah, it's not, corpses pinned to the walls and Dahlia cackling.
No, it's everything covered in tarps.
James.
Yeah, it's a tale.
Far less terrifying than the other world.
It's more sort of sad and depressing and decayed and desolate and all of those other words.
The nurses got a lot more bloodier, I noticed.
It did, yeah, there was two versions of them.
They were less clean, certainly. Oh, and yes, we've got here the box. The one containing nothing at first, and then you notice the hair. Isn't it odd how many keys you need for the darn thing?
I've noticed that Silent Hill 2 seems to be venturing more and more into adventure game logic.
What, rub the last two things you found together?
Unlock a horrendously locked box to get something that seems completely irrelevant to combine with a fish you found 3 weeks ago to fish out this thing, and yeah.
It's like in the apartments, you did the coin puzzle to open a desk, to get a key, to go into a room, to get another key, to get the fire escape, to have the encounter with Pyramid Head.
You could describe the entirety of Silent Hill 1 in such terms, though, couldn't you?
It probably felt a bit less contrived, I think. Maybe it didn't.
Well, since Silent Hill 1 was just creation of a girl's mind, puzzles, games, that sort of thing.
A child's nightmarish delusions come to life.
A more concise way of putting it, I guess.
That's how it puts it in the game.
But you can see games and puzzles being part of a child's world. Not quite the same with this one.
Oh, so we caught back up with Laura in the hospital, briefly. Because, of course, that was our entire purpose of going into the hospital. Because Maria said, look at that thing right in front of you that you're already looking at. And, of course, you turned to look at it. So, yes, Laura, you found her in that room with the teddy bears.
I don't know why we're following her around. She just seems to cause nothing but trouble.
Well, there's sort of two reasons. Because Maria seems to want you to follow her to take care of her, because she's this unexplainable sense of protectiveness. Whereas James wants to know about Mary, and she keeps talking about Mary, and
I guess it's a valid
she
reason to
knows
follow
her
her.
and has letters from her.
Or claims to, at least.
Yes.
Although James has stated purpose, which is, to protect her and help her as well. She seems fine, to be honest.
Not a scratch.
Well, I'm starting to wonder where the parents are. She just seems to be here in the town by herself. It's quite strange to see someone so young just adventuring, so to speak.
But doesn't Silent Hill, did the fog world consume people? Then leave other people in the real world?
That's a good question. What did you think about Laura's little joke?
Trapping in a room with 3 monsters?
I noticed your reaction as you were playing through there, and you seemed to have an expression which can only be described as, "It's a trap," on your face as soon as she pointed you to the back of the room. So did you detect what was coming up there?
As soon as she said, go in the room first, I face palmed, and all through my mind was just going, James, you're an idiot, James, you're an idiot, James, you're an idiot, James, you're an idiot.
Yeah, so she's going, oh, it's in the back there, right at the back.
Right there, next to the calamari, saying it's trap. Yes, just there, that's right. So you seem to have a little trouble with the battle with the flesh lips once. That's the caged thing that had its feet hanging down. Kept grabbing you.
Kinda wish I'd kept the handgun for that fight, to be honest. Because the handgun, it comes out of the animation a lot faster, so you can move around more. The shotgun, it's you raise it, you wait 5 seconds, you fire, you lower it, you can move again.
Yeah, we were talking about that as well, how you have to actually stop and aim the shotgun, whereas Harry from the first game could actually move and shoot at the same time. I'm not sure James can.
Harry's a better multitasker.
So there was 2 rooms which harkened back to our experience with Silent Hill 1 with going into rooms and hearing glass shattering. In this case, there was the room we left Maria in, and then the alternate version of it. Was it breathing, I think it was?
Breathing, yeah.
Yes, heavy breathing, and there was a whole bunch of pill bottles on the side.
And the other room, what was the other room?
It's glass breaking.
Yeah, there
Was it glass? It was glass.
You killed a nurse, picked up an item and went to go, and then it went smash.
Because I wasn't sure if it was glass or another noise. Yep.
I do like the atmospheric music more in Silent Hill 2 than I did in 1. Because in Silent Hill 1 it was a lot more imposing and forcing itself on you. This is just more setting a horror mood.
There's a massive difference in the soundtracks, if you buy the soundtracks for the game as well. It's like Silent Hill 2 is something that you could just listen to, whereas Silent Hill 1's mostly ambience and sort of industrial banging and noise and things like
Apart from the
that.
intro music, which is country and western.
Well, it's not quite country, it's Spanish, I think, rather than country and western. But it does have a very strange intro tune, which I think sort of returns the Spanish guitar in Silent Hill 3 a little bit, but obviously we'll get to that when we get to that. We were reunited with Maria
James,
after we called her Mary, which seemed to annoy her a bit.
it's you.
Well,
You were-
yeah, the game's slowly reinforcing the fact that James isn't entirely there,
Anyway,
I'm thinking.
I'm
Yes,
glad
because he
you're
keeps on
alive.
sort of going, oh, well, I've got to do the thing with my wife,
Who's dead?
who's dead. Yeah. So it's a little bit strange, and he's the one who's a little bit off this time, rather than everyone else but the main character.
Maria was definitely off.
Although I still think she's more reasonable than you in a lot of ways. I mean, you know, you did kind of just abandon her,
Yeah,
and then she ended up in the basement, and you don't never talk about that either. You don't seem to ask what happened. You just kind of go, anyway, let's go.
so was her hair covered in blood, or was that dyed tips? Because I don't remember.
Oh, she
that.
has dyed tips to her.
Okay.
It's always looked like that since the beginning of the
I
game.
didn't pay attention.
Yeah, but
She hasn't been, dipping her head in blood whether she's in the basement or anything like that.
find her.
Trick or treat. What do you think of the radio bit? Unexpected?
Bit of a non sequitur, I've got to say.
Yeah, it just kind of happens out of nowhere. Nothing leads up to it. It's just there. And it's not an ordinary, because I mean it's bad enough that the radio host seems to know your name, but there's a crowd cheering, and then he starts going into rather a lot of detail about murders.
Talking about punishment for getting it wrong.
Oh yeah.
And while it is sort of a first in Silent Hill 2, they have kind of similar things from then on. There is a moment in Silent Hill 3 with a phone, which is a bit sort of similar, I think.
Does that radio host come from nowhere and go nowhere?
Oh, you mean does it follow up or anything?
Yeah.
No, I think that's the last you hear of it, and the show in general. But you do get stuff out of it, so that's alright.
A lot of
It
shotgun
got you a
shells.
lot of things.
64 shotgun shells.
Yeah, and you were out, so that's good.
And it did mention Walter Sullivan again, because he was in the article in the apartments. That's who that was about. In the trash heap.
Walter Sullivan's always the answer,
Yes.
and he's always watching you. You'll find out. Eventually, yeah, we've got quite a lot to get through first. And of course, we have to get round to it eventually. The scene where Maria becomes an ex-Maria.
To be honest, all of the characters in Silent Hill 2 are a bit crazy, and I don't really mind that one of them's popped off, because she's quite annoying.
Very mercenary attitude there.
Yeah.
So were you surprised when Pyramid Head suddenly showed up in that corridor?
I was a bit surprised, because they usually foreshadow that with some sort of cutscene or something. No, he's just there, go.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect it when I was playing it through either, because it's like, normally there's a Pyramid Head, and then you don't see him for ages. So it's like, there's big gaps. But there, he's just there in the corridor, and he starts sort of chasing you.
Yeah, and Maria got hit by him, but didn't seem to bother until she got by the elevator.
Well, she got hit before as well in the corridor by one of the nurses, I believe.
That's only a pipe to the face, that doesn't hurt too much.
Well, not in a video game, certainly.
I do quite like that you kind of just run for it.
I think I made the right choice there instead of turning and fighting.
Are you happy to be done with the hospital?
To be honest, yeah, I'm kind of sick of hospitals since the last game took most of its time there as well.
I mean, obviously, when these games came out, there was quite a distance between them, quite a few years, but we're playing them all sequentially, so it's a bit different experience.
I think I preferred Silent Hill 1's hospital overall.
What for? What, more interesting? Or...
It was more old-fashioned.
It was more otherworldly.
Definitely. Not everything was right there. It seemed to have a lot more throwbacks to horror films, old horror films as well.
Well, yes, I mean, Silent Hill 2 is far more of a sort of a psychological, getting under your skin type experience than Silent Hill 1. I mean, that's not an insult to either game. I think they both do their thing really well.
Did you enjoy playing?
Yeah, I enjoyed playing the game.
Other than all the nurses that kept appearing, lots of nurses.
Can't really evade them quite as well as the mannequins.
Then we shall see you all next time, where we'll have more gameplay, and we'll see what lies beyond the boundaries of the hospital. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.